Hi, I'm Nasir. I'm from Nigeria and I'll be sharing my entrepreneurial journey today. I titled it A Harvest of Dreams because really I've been a dreamer all my life. And even today, as an entrepreneur, I'd like to see myself more as a dreamer than anything. Now, I am the founder of Verdant Agritech. Verdant is an agritech startup that builds technologies and innovations for farmers and the other stakeholders of the agricultural value chain. And this is a bit of how we started. Um, my mantra, or if you like, watch phrase or watch sentence is failure is creativity's currency. I totally believe that the more you fail, the more prone or the more accessible to success you become. Because when you fail and you rise, it makes you a better innovator and an even better creative person. I had the idea to build Verdant as a teenager when I was just 15. And I was in school and I wanted to build something for farmers that will help them become more efficient, that will help them produce more. And, there's an app for everything. So I thought I could make an app for farmers as well, for agriculture particularly. Now, going to university, I still nursed the idea, but I didn't do anything about it. And then I was in London, and there were so many competitions around business plans, sort of like Dragon's Den, come up with an idea, innovate, bring it something, and start something, a business. So I pitched the idea to a particular competition called the Enterprise Challenge, and I got to win that. And the prize came with a mentorship from Sir Richard Branson, and it was phenomenal. And it basically launched me. I got a £5,000 grant, and I got some time off my university thesis to actually develop an app. And I made an app, and I thought, oh, I've made the next best thing. I'm gonna save the world, end hunger, and people would jump on this. But really, people did not jump on it. I had a few family members and friends, all download the app, and there was, of course, the hype of having someone like Richard Branson. So yeah, a few people were using it for the first couple of weeks, but then it wasn't based on any market research. It wasn't, based on any customer feedback. It was just something that I thought my understanding of farmers and agriculture, would come through to make uh, a bestseller, if you like. But it didn't really make any money. And that was when I realized that I need to go back to the drawing board, and I started, learning online. Entrepreneurship, building software, building, startups in tech and all of that. And that was how I discovered edX, and how I discovered, the MIT MOOCs, and how I discovered the bootcamp. Now, I came to the bootcamp, you could say, in search of truth, around entrepreneurship, around how to build a business, how to build a startup. And I like telling people that what I found was more than knowledge. I found action. I found how to do things, if you like. I found, the necessarily things that I need to do to build the right entrepreneurial muscles that I needed to do, the world changing that I so dream of. And after the boot camp, in fact, throughout the boot camp, I was, visualizing, I was, having these concrete blueprints on how to put a solid and robust structure to my startup, and what to overhaul, how to do it, and how to go about it. And then I've learned from so many people. I've made so many new friends, and there's a network of not only people that are living around you that you could learn from, but people that have made it. Because during our bootcamp, we have people like Paul English, who just sold kayak, talking to us. And then we had a few other people who were basically rogues in what they did. We had, the the guys from the casino, the famous MIT casino heist, and a bunch of others, that would just inspire you. And actually, we had people from the first class. So I was in the second class of the boot camp. There were people from the first class who had gone on to do so many amazing things in social entrepreneurship, a space that I thought I was doing so well in. And then I found people like the City Taps duo that were doing so much, so much amazing stuff. And you couldn't just help but be inspired and, aspire to actually do things the right way. So with that, I went back to Nigeria, and the first thing I did was a lesson that I learned from my office hours, I think with Erdine, to go back and learn the requirements firsthand. And that was how I realized, entrepreneurship is really about anthropology. What most entrepreneurs do is learn the requirements of their customers, who are mostly people. So I mean, if you studied people, you're basically you know doing that social thing that you know is sometimes confined to classrooms or to academics. But really, entrepreneurs have to double, not only as builders but as anthropologists. And that was how I stayed in farms and lived with farmers for close to half a year. And I took that and turned it into gold, because every bit of information I got from interacting, and this is key, interaction with farmer, not just dishing out questionnaires. I really went the extra mile to see that, I've taken enough information from them. I'm giving them enough information, not just as someone, who lazily wants to just give you something and take your money, but somebody who genuinely wants to help you, um, uh, you know, become better at what you do. And that was what made the farmers open up a lot, around their issues. So what I could say, from being a person that nursed this dream as a 15-year-old, is that now at about 24, 25, I could clearly see that all I had before was a dream, but now I have a dream, and I have woken up from the dream, but I'm living the dream, and I'm taking conscious steps and making conscious efforts to see that I've actualized it. And this is the sort of requirement specification I gathered from the farmer. There were about 50 farmers, a close group that I was working with, and I genuinely tried to see that they got the vision around Verdant, and they used it in a manner that helped them grow. And since it's something that we're building, we're iterating, constantly making better, the farmers showed us how to put those bits and pieces that didn't necessarily ended or stopped at them. So for instance, there are issues around finance, which was a banking problem that really they couldn't do anything about it. So we had to somehow find a way of integrating the bank. And then there are issues around farm inputs which they didn't produce, so we have to get the farm input providers and see how we could include them in the process, and a bunch of other stakeholders too. So I mean, I'm saying that it has been a journey, and it did begin with a dream, but it was mostly uh, happening because of the actions and the steps that we took uh, after the dream. And it gave birth to a system that was so new and so revolutionary, that it probably hasn't been done before in this part of the world. And you know the farmers and the other stakeholders had pains which were evident, which a lot of experts would tell you. African food production is inefficient, it's low because they use traditional methods of farming, because they are isolated from markets. I mean, everyone would keep saying the same thing. I mean, these are the pain, right? Even you know a scientist or someone in university doing research about Africa would tell you the same things, but nobody really talks to the farmers. And they just come and dole out policies and bring out schemes and techniques trying to solve a problem that they don't go to the bottom of to understand. So what we did differently was we went to the farmers and we found, how to attack the pain where it hurts the most, and we built that. And almost immediately the rewards started flowing in. There was revenue. We had paying customers in the thousands, and then of course there were accolades and awards coming from basically all parts of the world, for the company and for me as an entrepreneur and innovator too. I was among 30 under 30, the 2017 Forbes 30 under 30. We were in Boston for the conference and it was phenomenal. And then I got also the Queen's Young Leaders Award from Her Majesty herself, and a bunch of other things that couldn't possibly have happened without putting in the work in terms of going back to the drawing board, in terms of learning customer requirements, and in terms of genuinely innovating for problem solving. And I mean, that was a place where we could stop, where we could say, okay, we're comfortable here, we're making money, we're getting awards, let's just, be cool and be comfortable. But I didn't think it was enough, and I like hitting hard ever since I learned to do it. And I thought, why don't we build this behemoth of a project whereby we house all agricultural data and make it available and make it efficient, and reduce the downtimes, and also make it like pervasive, sort of like data is all over the world. Why can't we build that in Africa? And as a small company, it'd be difficult to do that because you do not have the capital, you do not have the back-end and all of that. But I proposed to a major government in Nigeria to do a sort of a public-private partnership, and they agreed. And what I learned most from doing this, it's the biggest thing we've ever done. What I learned most about this is some of the things are right there. All you have to do is ask for them. It's like putting a list that, I want to meet Richard Branson, I want to see the Queen, I want to be on the cover of Forbes magazine. I mean, that sounds straight off, I don't know, an R&B song or something. I think it was, I don't remember the artist that sang the song, but it's just so fictional. But then all you have to do is ask for it. Ever since I started this entrepreneurial journey, I realized that most of the things that are out there that I want, I could actually get them. And I mean, I keep asking myself, why not go for them? So I want $1 million out of, making impactful innovations for people who are bereft of it. And there, it's actually dangling in front of me, begging me to get it. And that's exactly what we're doing at Verdant. So amidst all the failures, amidst all the drawbacks, amidst all the hassles and struggles and the sort of complexities of being in a place like Nigeria and Africa, we are still pushing through. And I think we are flourishing and blooming as any startup would in any part of the world. And that is not just because we are lucky or we are set aside by some, divine power. No, it's just because of the doggedness in which we put innovation first, in which we put rebellion first, in which we make sure that, we are not complacent, we're not comfortable, and we are not timid about, bringing new things and doing new things and, dreaming big. Victory, they say, favors the bold, and we'd like to be bold at all times. Now, here's a little distraction. We at Verdant thought, we have for years worked without a marketing budget, but I envisioned a project in which we told the world, the situation of African farmers, particularly, because whether we like it or not, most people are ignorant about the things that go down in the continent, and especially in the individual countries that make up the continent. So I thought, how could we take, one very popular food item and do a project around it that really attracted people? And we chose jollof rice, the food, jollof rice. It's a delicacy, one of the most popular delicacies in Nigeria and in Africa. And we thought, what if we sent jollof rice to space? And the idea is crazy, and it sounds weird and, totally a frivolity, but I think there's a benign and crucial message behind it, because it involves not only taking jollof rice to space, but showing you the process of getting rice from the farm to the dinner table. So who are the farmers that grow it? What do they go through on a daily basis to grow it? And how does it, transform from an improved seedlings that we help a farmer in a remote location to access and plant, to a loan or agricultural credit that we help a farmer to access, to the mill that we get to negotiate and advance with the farmer to sort of offtake the rice, and to the wholesaler or the retailer that finally sells the rice to a family who cooks jollof rice. So the journey is there for you to see, and then if you were like us, geeks at heart, you'd be interested in actually sending jollof rice to space from Nigeria, a country, by the way, that has no investment or efforts or technology in anything space related. So we thought, in a low cost, simple manner, what could we do to send jollof to space? And as innovators, we sat down as we would solve any crucial problem to solve this jollof rice problem. So we figured, with a high altitude weather balloon and a GoPro camera, an Arduino, and a location module, we could efficiently send jollof to the stratosphere and record the journey and get it back and retrieve it and do some observations. And that's what we've been working on. And in the next couple of weeks, we would be sending jollof rice to space. So this is my entrepreneurial journey. It is a harvest of dreams, in that it is often playful, it's often difficult, it's often sad, and it's often joyful. There's a lot of downs and ups, and there are loads of prestigious moments, and there are loads of sorry ones, but it's overall everything I'd rather be doing. And it's so rewarding, in that when you look at the number of people that you could possibly impact, and you see the sort of impact, the sort of dent you could create in the world on a global scale, it's a phenomenal thing to be part of. And I'm so happy to be among the community of innovators and people that I genuinely believe that together we would do many amazing things, and we would leave the world better than we found it. This is my verdant story, and I'd love to hear what you think.